friends, and welcome back to my channel. It is the middle of August at this point. I do not understand where this year is going. It is going by so quickly, but since it is mid-August, it is time for another walkthrough of my plant collection where I can show y'all everything that I've got going on in the collection, the good, the bad, the ugly, just everything basically, and we can go through it together and I can show y'all what I'm excited about and stuff like that. So before we get into it though, I want to say if you're new here and you don't know me already, hi, my name is Emma and I make houseplanty content all over the internet, so if you want to follow along with my houseplanty journey and maybe learn something along the way, stick around, watch some more of my videos, and subscribe to my channel. If you are not new here, welcome back. I really appreciate you rejoining. Let's get straight into these updates. I figure we can start in the office because I am really mostly excited about this corner here. I feel like I am loving what it is looking like now that I've got the new light in there and the trellis on the back for my begonia. And the only thing that I've done new since you've last seen this space is I put my Schismatic Glottis silver here. It was just getting too big for the space. You can see these sort of leaves that it is putting out are absolutely huge. This one was like all up touching the shelf below it or above it. And so it just really needed some more space. I've also found that this is by far one of my thirstiest plants. Schismatic Glottis in general are extremely thirsty, and this one just is part of that as well. But all of the plants I have in this zone are semi-hydro, so I'll be needing to check on them about the same time anyway, and I can make sure that they are more filled up than I could in this one's old spot. This is where that Schismatic Glottis used to live, and it was on top of this box, so I suppose if I moved this box of like rehabby things, it would have been fine, but I like having the box here, and like I'm using it for height for other things, like my El Choco Red, which is putting out a new leaf, but oh my goodness, it got super duper stuck and bent, and so I needed to help it. I didn't need to, I did help it. Maybe I didn't. I don't know if I needed to help it or not, but I helped it, and it's all kinds of messed up, which kind of sucks quite a bit because I feel like this one barely ever gets new leaves anyways, and so I just wanted it to be nice, but unfortunately it is what it is. It's fine. The next leaf will hopefully come out better and I won't ruin it by plucking it out myself. Same as last time, my Dioscorea discolor here is just doing phenomenally. It is growing so much. I've had to like take the tendrils and I've tried to start wrapping them back down now in hopes that I can get it to go down and up again, just because I don't have enough space. It's at the top at this point. So maybe I'll need to do something different for down the line, because I only have so much space and I genuinely don't even know how I'll ever like repot this one if I need to, because it's all up around this pole, which I mean I love the way it looks like that, but it just makes it a little bit harder to work with at the minute. And next to that, my Philodendron Florida Ghost is doing amazingly. You can see the new leaves are starting to get even lobier, and they are still retaining some of that ghostliness. It's not as much as like down here where it was a lot ghostier, but there is still some of that sort of marbling in there, which is fine. I don't need it to be super duper marbly. Of course, maybe when it gets a little bit closer to this grow light, that it's almost, I mean, maybe once it gets to about there, it'll go ghosty again. I'm not totally sure, but for now, I'm just really enjoying watching every new leaf grow in. It's growing them in constantly at the minute, which is really fun. Also in the back here, my Monstera Dubia. Let me see if I can turn these lights off to show you. My Monstera Dubia, the big one, is just putting out leaf after leaf, just constantly. And like, look how big this one is. It is absolutely huge and super duper long. It's doing so well, and I genuinely think it is partly because this pole is wrapped and it's able to get moisture in there all of the time. And so basically it didn't grow for a little while, I guess maybe when it was adjusting to my home, but since it started growing again, it's just put out, I think, 3 or 4 new leaves, and they're all just really, really big, beautiful ones. Down here in the cabinet, you can actually see me, hi, but you can see that there's no grow light in here at the moment, and that is because the other day I heard a crash and I found that the Velcro on this side of the light came off of the light, and the light had just fallen straight down into my plants. But I have yet to get new command strips to put this thing back on, so these plants are just gonna be living in the dark for a little bit. But one of the main things that's definitely happening right now, you can see it on the top of all of these, is my blue myrtillo cactus. On every single one of its little bits has started to grow again. And I'm hoping that it'll do similar to how it did when it did this section, where it'll just be a little bit skinny, because they're all a bit skinny at the minute, and then go wide and then skinny again, so it'll kind of keep blobbling up. I'm hoping that's the case. I'm not sure if it will. I mean, definitely not having a grow light in here isn't going to help with that situation. It might make it a little bit more atoliated. So I'm waiting on my, whatchamacallit, the command strips now, just until those show up and I can re-put on the grow light. Oh my goodness, okay. So this is kind of bad news. So my booby cactus, I was just looking at it right in there, and I saw that sort of orangeness there, which on one of my other cacti was a sign that it had pests. And it looks like there is a thrip in there. I'll see if I can get closer footage. But that is just so annoying. I feel like I can't catch a break with this one. Like, first it was the root mealies, and now it's got thrips. It's so frustrating that I just want it to grow well, and I just haven't had that great of an experience with it, which is a shame because I love it. It's a fun, like, weird, silly sort of cactus. That's really annoying. I mean, I was hoping that by getting rid of those other ones that I would have gotten rid of the thrips in this cabinet, but I guess not. And it's still so weird having thrips on cacti and succulents. My brain just can't quite comprehend why that's happening, because I feel like they're not as easy to eat, like the sap of, as sort of normal leaves. Like, they're much tougher. So like, I kind of get mealybugs because they're bigger and they can kind of get in there better, but thrips I don't understand. But they're here and I am dealing with them, I guess apparently not very well, seeing as my booby cactus is affected still. But that's okay. Everything else in here, I should probably give it a thorough check, but for now seems to be doing okay. In the bedroom, one of the most exciting things is my Syndapsis exotica. Do you see how big these new leaves are on it? Like, holy cow, they are massive, which is so, like, it's not unusual for this because it has had big leaves previously, but it hasn't grown new big leaves in quite a long time. And it still does look like a little bit that the newer growth is not coming in quite as big, but like, holy cow, it is just massive and it's so cool. I kind of wish that all of this stuff could come in just as big, but I understand that that isn't necessarily possible. But I think because this part is closest to the water source and like fertilizer and stuff, these are gonna get the most out of it, and the vines that are way down at the end aren't going to get it as much. So I do understand, but if only they could all be this big. As usual, my variegated lipstick plant is doing phenomenally. It just continues to put out more and more beautiful new growth, and like the variegation on it is so fun and cool. I think I'm probably gonna take some of this to an upcoming plant swap just because people love it. It's so different and not very many people have this type of lipstick plant that I feel like it's just the perfect thing to bring to a swap. Like, oh my goodness, look at this leaf. Literally perfect. I mean, this might not be a new leaf or anything, but oh, it's just so cool. And then I don't think I have brought y'all in here properly since I did do my rearrange of this over on Patreon, but I have updated my Acro bar and put some new things in here. I gave my Syngonium Frosted Heart a moss pull in there. It is looking a little bit dry. The pull is so tiny that I need to get like maybe like a mini shot glass or something to put in there to keep it hydrated. But otherwise in here things are doing really, really well. My Apobolus has really started like going at this point. These leaves are maybe not quite as big as the ones when I got it, because it wasn't huge, but it wasn't tiny. But now they're starting to actually grow in again. For the longest time, I thought this one was an absolute goner, but it was just basically resetting itself in the semi-hydro, and now it's back in business. And this Schismatic Lotus here, the silver or silver Berneo, this one, I think I put it in here because I wanted something that was a little bit taller and that could fill out the space, but it has just filled out the space so much, so quickly that I genuinely don't think it's going to be able to be in here for long. You can see there's 2 new leaves up in there. It's just, it's going so quickly that, like, before I know it, I don't think it's going to have that much more room in this space based off of how big it is in there already. My mistletoe cactus is getting super duper long. I swear some of the bits are over a meter at this point, and it is growing really, really well. You can even see there's like little flower balls in there looking adorable, but it is just, I can't believe that when I got it, it was probably around there, and so much of it has grown since then. I mean, it has been, ooh, maybe a year or 2 at this point, but it's still like, it's so big. I almost feel like I don't have enough room for this one to get much bigger, because soon it's gonna get to like Cleo reaching distance, and that is a time at which I can't have it in this spot, and I don't really have higher ceilings than this anywhere in my flat, so it's just gonna, it might have to be a shopping time after that. And then otherwise in here, things are okay. I have been monitoring my Mitchellsiana very regularly for thrips and squishing any that I see. I have seen a couple here and there, but nothing crazy. I haven't been monitoring my Polyneura because I'm honestly too lazy to pull it out, which I know that's a me problem and it's my bad, but I know that my Mitchellsiana is still growing really, really well. You can kind of see up in there the sort of leaves at the back. Oh my goodness. I just love looking and seeing like with the light there. Ooh, I see a thrip. I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna get you, I'm gonna get you. Do. Got it. So yeah, like they're still there, but it's not the end of the world. I might need to try something else in order to figure something out, but it is still growing. You can see there's a new leaf there, so it obviously can't be that upset with me, and it's getting loads of light otherwise and putting out loads of new leaves. So if the price to pay for it is having some thrips, that's fine. You can see I've got my Predatory Mite sachets all up in here, and I mean, I don't know if these ones work very well for those like sort of thick, big black thrips that I'm dealing with on this one, but we can always try. And if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, I have to find another method. Maybe try some like diatomaceous earth or something. Put more sulfur treatment on, because that deals with thrips. But I prefer to not do that if I can at all help it. For the billionth time this year, my Hoya croniana is blooming. Look at those. I feel like it has just been non-stop blooming for the past few months, and I am super duper grateful that that's the case. It's also, I feel like, been growing quite a lot. It is getting to the point where it is super long now, and I should probably chop this one back as well, because I just don't have the space for things this long. But it is doing really well and growing beautifully, so I can't really complain about it. Sequoia rosita here is also blooming quite a lot, probably for the 4th or 5th time. You can see so many peduncles in there that are getting ready to bloom. They're not quite blooming yet, but I think in the next couple weeks they will all pop and just be very, very bloomy in this section as well. My Warwickwianum leaf has, I think, pretty much come in at this point. It's feeling like it has hardened off. And I know it is not the perfect leaf. I know that. But I don't mind. I'm just happy that it is doing something and growing. I mean, it's already, this leaf is better than these ones just purely because it doesn't have like loads of brown crunchiness on it. Maybe I do long term need to put it in a different spot somewhere that's a little bit more humid, just because this space, I feel like it's, oh, I don't have my moisture meter here at the minute. I feel like it's around 40 to 50%. The windows in here are almost always open and it's not super duper far from one. And so I feel like it needs something because I'm not giving it everything it does need. I've got a mini Tycon back here that my friend gave me, and look, it's putting out a new leaf and it's got like a big chunk of sort of white cream on it, which I'm super excited to see. This one isn't quite as slow as my big one, but it's still not quick, if you catch my drift. It's still taking its sweet time, but the fact that it's putting out growth in general is a good sign. And then the Raphidophore tetrasperma is doing phenomenally. It is still growing. Like up top there, it is zooming away and growing pretty much constantly, but it does still have thrips. I am still finding them fairly regularly on here. And again, this is one that I feel like I'm going to need to deal with in order to get rid of them, because like the alcohol, I don't think it worked as well as I wanted it to, and we all know that like caused like damage in there on these sort of leaves. I have lost several from down the bottom at this point. It's looking ever so slightly more bare down there. So it's not perfect. It, like from far away you wouldn't be able to tell that there's anything going on with this plant though. It looks pretty much perfectly happy. And I mean, the glorious next to it is glorious as ever, and it's got a new leaf there, and from the point that I chopped, it's got some new growth there. Of course it is a little bit smaller, seeing it's the first new leaf from this growth point, but hopefully it can get back to bigger again as well. But I'm like, how can you not love this one? It's just so pretty. Also, my Splendid, if any of you watched my plant tours video recently, you might have seen that it got so dry that it was wilting fully. It has now since bounced back since I gave it a really good thorough water. You can see the pole is nice and dark and moist now, and hopefully that means that we are back in business with this one and I don't need to worry about it anymore, and we can maybe get some bigger leaves. I would love if it would size up. We do have loads more room on the pole, so it's not like it needs to size up now, but the sooner the better, in my opinion. Oh my goodness! I just saw that my Pallidiflorum is putting out a new leaf there. It's still quite ditty. It's definitely not done sizing up because it's nowhere close to the previous leaves in length. Not that they're incredibly long or anything, but hopefully this one gets a little bit bigger and continues growing well. That's so exciting. I didn't know that I had one there, which is, it's always fun to discover some new leaves coming in. I figured we could go into my Pon Box really quickly and I can show you what's going on in here. I've got, oh, is this the, I genuinely can't remember what sort of begonia this is, but it is, whatever it is pretty much outgrown the box at this point. The lid is touching these leaves, so I'm going to have to move it out of here fairly soon just because I just doesn't have the space for it anymore. Begonias for me have just been growing so fast, which is crazy. I never thought that they would be such fast growers. And then also, I haven't shown y'all this one in a while. This is one of my variegated anthurium. I say one of my. This is my variegated anthurium. I only have one, but it is so weird. I think it's a variegated magnificum. But it's just so strange. Like, instead of having really dark velvety leaves, it's got kind of speckled velvety leaves. And this is the first leaf that is properly putting out veination on it. You can see the ones below don't really have any veins in there. This one had like a middle one, but that's it. So now we're starting to get into the real veins, which is super duper exciting. I feel like it's actually, I've had this one for genuinely years and it's taken its sweet time to do anything, but I think having it in the Pon Box has been its favorite spot so far, so I'm just gonna keep it in here for the time being. I think I'll also probably need to take out this. It's some Alocasia branchifolia here, which are getting a little bit big for the box too. But everything else in here seems to be doing fine. Nothing crazy needs to happen. They can all stay here, be pretty happy. Oh my god, I've got like, I think is this a Maharani? I think. Is it the Maharani or the Mellow? I think this is the Maharani because it doesn't have the light vein in it. I could be wrong. I will put it on the screen, whichever one it actually is. But things like this one, I feel like it's kind of a dwarf alocasia anyways, and so it doesn't grow those really tall, leggy stems, which makes it a really good candidate for a Pon Box like this, because I don't need to worry about it escaping like this branchifolia is trying to. But also, y'all can see how mucky and dirty and like black pretty much the like water is. The water itself I don't think is black, but it's got, yeah, the water is fine. It's not, yeah, because there's some like lighter spots in there, but it's got like loads of algae in it at this point. But that is totally normal, especially if it's getting grow light, which this one is. It normally lives under those grow lights there. I have heat mats down there, but that's not, they're not on. They just live there doing nothing. I could maybe in the wintertime put one of those on to potentially keep this a little bit warmer, because it is water, and in the winter it could be beneficial to this to stay a little bit warmer, but in the summer when it's this hot, I just don't need to worry about it. And I mean, I feel like the algae bloom is just because it is warm and bright as it is. So yeah, that's what's going on in the Pon Box. I need to take this begonia out. I really don't know what this one is. If anyone knows for sure what it is, can you please tell me? Because I have fully lost the idea on it. Thanks. And then lastly, we obviously have the living room. I guess we could start out in the cabinet, because things are obviously growing really well in here. The first thing that I notice is always my Alocasia Dragon's Breath, because it's putting out not one but 2 new leaves at the minute, and they're almost like twin leaves. They feel like they're almost exactly the same, which is kind of fun. But things are doing well in here. I have done a little bit of rearranging up at the top. I've put my variegated Rhaphidophora tetrasperma up here, and my Asacanthus bolero bicolor cuttings that I need to keep an eye on. I've put them up here as well, and I'm hoping that because they've got lots of light and heat, and I can give them loads of moisture, that they will be good in this spot. Oh my goodness, my Welsh Mountain Zoo Hoya is going all the way up there with a runner at the minute. Actually, I was up in Wales the other weekend, and I was not very far from the Welsh Mountain Zoo. I was like almost tempted to get my friends to go, but I was the only planty one in the group, so nobody else would really care. But I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we were able to go to the Welsh Mountain Zoo and I could see where this Hoya was cultivated for itself. That would have been like awesome. Obviously didn't happen, but it's cool that I was in the neighborhood. Which one is this? Is the variegated macrorrhiza is doing okay at the minute. You can see the last couple leaves, or this leaf that it gave me. I don't know why it's so much taller than the other ones, but the most recent leaf on it is doing quite well. It's really nicely variegated, which I quite like. Unfortunately, my variegated Gagiana, if I can show you, which I can't right now because it's, there we go. My variegated Gagiana, it rotted from the stem, unfortunately, and so I had to remove a big chunk of it, which sucked. Luckily, there's still some roots on it, but I just have it sitting in some water now. The latest leaves on it have been quite variegated as well. This one's okay, but this one down here looks like it's gonna be entirely white as well, unfortunately. So I don't know what exactly is going on with this one and whether or not I'll be able to save it, but got my fingers crossed that the water will do it good. But that's basically it for the top. Down the bottom, oh my goodness, I just feel like things are absolutely exploding at the moment. My Portadora, you can't even see it properly because I've kind of pushed it further back. It is doing so well. I still can't believe that when Claire gave it to me, the leaves were like this big, and they've just gotten bigger and bigger as time has gone on. This leaf is not even fully hardened off yet. This is the previous one, so it's already bigger than that. I just know this one's gonna outgrow the cabinet before we know it, and I'm not gonna be able to keep it in here. Don't know what I'm gonna do with it then, but for now, it will stay in here. Both of my Monstera dubias have grown off the top of the poles, and I'm gonna be fully honest with y'all. I don't feel like I need those dubias in the back anymore. I think because I have that big sort of fenestrated one at this point, I don't feel like I need to hold on to these anymore. I've been letting them tendril and just sit like this and doing nothing about it. And to me, that's a sign that I'm not loving them anymore. And so that is a little bit sad. I think I'm probably going to end up taking them to a future plant swap. Probably one in London, just because I'm not gonna take these plants on a train up to like Hull or something this weekend, because that just doesn't make sense. So in a future swap, or if someone is London based, because honestly they're too big to go into whatchamacallit, the mail. So if anyone's London based and really fancies a Monstera dubia that's seen better days but still perfectly happy, give us a shout and we can make that happen. I've also recently chopped to prop my variegated, I think my mint variegated jade satin. It was doing so well. It had a huge long vine with tons and tons and tons more of these beautiful leaves. They're kind of hard to see in this light, but they're beautifully variegated. And I've chopped that up and I'm propping them to go back in here so I can have a bit of a fuller variegated syndapsis. And then down the bottom, we've got a new leaf on my Alocasia Mellow there, just popping out. It's very new. Nothing crazy going on with it yet. And my Anthurium SP Limon. This is a new leaf, and just look at those abs. Do you see the abs on that leaf? That is just absolutely incredible. And it's not really attaching itself to the pole, so don't know what's going on there. I might have to put something around, where to go? Around that zone at the top back there in order to get it to keep pushing out good growth. So anyways, it's happy enough. I mean, it's pushing out beautiful new leaves, so I definitely can't complain. And then in this zone, honestly, nothing really has changed except for I pot up my Begonia Hatacoa silver cuttings. I have 2 jars of them because one of them's for Lisa and one of them's for myself, but they were rooted and growing new leaves and stuff. And so I figured it was time to get them into their substrate. I'm really sad that I did have to chop them back. This is one of them. I had to chop it back to nothing and genuinely don't think it's gonna grow from that, so I'm probably just gonna have to get rid of that stump in there, which is, it's fine, seeing as these ones are growing. They just look so good. I love the sort of silver on these leaves. It's just so beautiful. These are the cuttings I was talking about off of that variegated Synapsis, as well as some, I think, tattoo and stuff. Regular Argyraeus in here, nothing special. But these are the cuttings I have off. I have them in some sphagnum and perlite mix. I've also got some philodendron micans cuttings because those were getting super duper long that I took and are now living in sphagnum and moss while they root. Oh my goodness. Oh, I guess this is kind of new. I haven't really shown this one. So I am trying my hand at a philodendron varicosum again. I know, y'all, that I swore off all of them forever, but basically one of my followers was like, you know what, try it in semi-hydro. And so I've got this one in semi-hydro and it is looking absolutely stunning. I love varicosum leaves. I think they're so beautiful with that like dark velvet and green contrasty veins. They're stunning. And also the hairy petioles, do you see that? Like, look at those. They're just so fun. It's just such a beautiful plant. And I'm just hoping and praying, keeping my fingers crossed that the semi-hydro works for this one and it doesn't become as much of a pest magnet as previous ones have for me. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. I know I have talked about this before, but my Monstera Thai constellation new leaf is like properly coming out, and look at that bit of variegation in there, and there's got at least one fenestration on it. I wanna open it up so badly, but I am doing my very freaking best not to touch this one just because I know how fragile new leaves are. And oh my goodness, it's gonna be so cool. I cannot wait to show y'all when it has opened up what it looks like. Oh my goodness, it's gonna be so cool. Like, oh my god, I'm so excited about it. Also, another new leaf that I am incredibly excited about. My Regal is putting out another new leaf, and it's already like quite long. It's hard to show you and I really don't want to touch it in case I disturb it, but the leaf before it's even come out is this big, which is huge. And if it is anything close to the size of this one, I'm going to be thrilled, because this one is 50 centimeters from there to there. So, oh my god, if it's bigger, I don't know what I'm gonna do if it's bigger. It's just gonna be outrageous. But oh my god, I'm so excited for it. It's gonna be I'm so excited to watch it. But you know what? I'm probably gonna miss it hardening off again because I have to go somewhere to my wedding at the end of September. So I'm probably gonna miss the like end bit of this growth, which is terrifying. But it's okay, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. As long as I have it for the beginning and I'm keeping it nice and hydrated during that time, it will be okay. Also, don't know how to like properly show you how big this leaf is because it is massive. But my philodendron melanonii has just put out this leaf, and I thought it wasn't going to be as big because when it came out, I swear it was probably like 2/3 of this size. But it's probably 50 centimeters from tip to lobe up there. So it has just expanded and it's still not quite fully hardened off yet. And it's just so big and beautiful. This, I don't think I'm ever not gonna love my Fat Boy Not Fat Boy melanonii just because it's so jungle vibes. And oh my goodness, if I ever have to get rid of it, I'm gonna be so sad. I really hope I don't have to, but like, I mean, if I ever move, this is gonna be a pain in the butt to move. And then my bird of paradise, those 2 new leaves that I encouraged to open up with the damp towel in my plant hacks video are just, look how pretty. They're so big. That's literally only half of it, and it's so wide already. I am so excited to see these fully unfurl. Again, I'm not touching them because they are fragile beings, but they're just doing so well. And then last but not least, we've got my Begonia Carolina. Carolina, I think it is. Carolina. Whatever it is, however it's pronounced. Do you see this plant? Holy cow. I grew this from a single gigantic cutting. It was a really big cutting, but I grew this from that. I chopped it into 3, and since then I have propagated it even more, and I have recently pulled it out of the kitchen in order to put its other new propagations in there. It's got 2 stakes holding it up because it is just so... It is such a beast and such a fast grower, and like the leaves on it are huge. Oh my god, this, like, I am so glad that I have gotten into cane begonias because it is just such a fun, plant, and I can't believe I didn't love them for so long. Like, how did I not have begonias for the first, like, 5 years of my planting? How was I struggling with them so much before? Because I just feel like I get them now, and especially, I think maybe it is the semi-hydro, maybe that is the answer for me, but oh my goodness. I don't know where I'm gonna put this now because I feel like it's too big for my kitchen window, but it's doing so well, and I'm so happy for it. So that is it. That is everything going on in my collection at the minute. I feel overwhelmingly positive. For the most part, things are going really well. Annoyed about those thrips on my baby cactus. I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. But I feel like all the rest of the thrips in my collection are definitely manageable. And also, like, I genuinely think that predatory mites are helping and working. I know some people are like, why do you have thrips if you're using predatory mites? They're not like a cure-all. They're not gonna kill everything. They will just help prevent the problem. And I know that they are doing their job because if they weren't, I am sure my problem will be so much worse. So, it's fine. I'm dealing with it how I can, but overall, for the most part, I'm just so happy with what's going on in my collection and glad that I'm able to share all these, for the most part, wonderful things with y'all. So, thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up down below and leave a comment on other houseplanty things you'd like me to talk about in the future, and subscribe for more. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I would love to hear about some updates you have on your plants, and I will see you in the next one. Yeah, thanks for watching. Bye!